What's up, YouTube gamers? Young Soul dropping another video. And we all heard the news. Fable Legends is canceled and Lionhead Studios is now defunct. And I want to start off by saying I hope all the people that worked for Lionhead Studios find another job, hopefully around the same pay, because we got to remember, these people do this to put food on their kids' tables and clothes on their kids' backs. So we always wish them nothing but the best. I do want to touch on a couple things though. One real quick. First of all, I gotta go after the fanboys, not over this specifically, but how the Xbox fanboys flip-flop depending on which company is giving bad news. So a couple weeks ago, you remember, Uncharted 4 got delayed for 2 weeks, mind you. Xbox fanboys ran amok talking about how this proves that Sony's over, Sony's going bankrupt, they have no money, jump ship now, Sony fanboys have to be worried about the future, etc., etc. I'm telling you, 2-week delay. Now, they've had several delays, so this is like the third delay, maybe fourth delay. But, for all intents and purposes, this last one is 2 weeks, and supposedly we should be packing up and getting rid of our PS4s now, jump ship early before the ship sinks or something. But somehow, no cancellation of a game, no defunct, studio or anything, but horrible. We should all throw in the towel. Now, when this happens, the Xbox fanboys, I've seen some of them are actually like, I'll give them credit saying that this is bad news, this is straight up bad news, no question, no nothing. But I've seen some of them try to damage control, like, hey, they're just cutting the fat. Now, keep in mind, when Sony does things, I believe it was Evolution Studios that did Drive Club, and then they scaled down. Drive Club isn't gone. You can follow Rushy on Twitter. He still talks about Drive Club, still doing updates, still doing all types of stuff. But they're not coming up with multiple games for Drive Club, which for those who liked it, I guess is a bit of a disappointment, but it's not like they're still not getting new stuff. Okay, but the Xbox fanboys tried to portray that as Sony going off the rails, it's almost over, jump ship while you can't get the women and children in the lifeboats now. But somehow, this news, which is way worse than Drive Club, because the game actually came out, they're actually keep supporting it, Drive Club bikes, etc., etc. They've got all type of new things. They have weekend, like, double points and stuff like that, so they're still supporting it. That's so much worse than apparently, Fable Legends. Now, what's funny about the fanboys, real quick, again, is I did this in a tweet, and I'm sorry I don't have the tweet. I'll put the link to the Twitter post that I showed where a particular Xbox fanboy was talking up Fable Legends I believe just at the end of last year. And now, after this news breaks, all of a sudden, no one cares. No one cared about the game at all. Whatever. You know what I mean? So I just found that to be interesting. And let's face facts just real quick. This is the other thing I wanted to bring up. So that was the Xbox fanboys just real quick, I just want to show their hypocrisy. But the second thing is, Microsoft does have a drought of developers. Okay? And what I mean by that is, I remember a couple months back, where, Xbox fanboys were sitting there telling me all about how they got 25 studios and PS4 only has 18. Now, I'm not even sure that number's correct. But let's just for argument's say it's correct. Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but let's just for argument's say that's correct. The problem is, outside of the 5 up until now, I'm including Lionhead up until now, but back then, 2 months ago, they're saying 25 studios for Microsoft. But other than the 5 that we knew about, the other 20 weren't doing anything. Well, here's what I mean. We know 343 with Halo. We know Black Tusk, or whatever they're called now, for Gears. We know, Turn 10 for Forza. Rare does their thing. They make different type of games, but we know them. And then we knew Lionhead, who did Fable up until today. But I mean, we knew that. Okay, right? Outside of that, though, can anybody tell me the last major AAA Microsoft game developed by a studio other than those 5 studios? I'm having trouble remembering it off the top of my head. Someone could probably do the research and give me the information. And then number 2, name the next big budget AAA Microsoft developed game not by one of those 5 studios. Not by 343, not by, Black Tusk or whatever they're called, or Turn 10, or Rare, or Lionhead. Name the next one. Every other exclusive, big budget exclusive was made by an outside developer. They do not have internal developers making big budget games. I don't know what their internal developers are doing. On the contrast, PlayStation, they got Sony Japan, who's now coming out with their second big budget game, Knack. Now again, I know I'm going to name these games like I just named Knack, and people go, oh, that game sucked. Your opinion's fine, but that's irrelevant to the point that PlayStation has a structure to make games from their studios. Now, whether you like the games or not, that's your personal preference, but they have a structure in place to make the games. Internally is what I'm saying. They don't just go out to third party and say, hey, who wants to make this game? Can someone make this game for us? Because that's the present problem they're having with Phantom Dust. They're trying to find a developer to make it, which PlayStation doesn't have problems. Who's going to make The Last of Us 2? I wonder what development studio Sony could get to make The Last of Us. You never hear that. Why? Because we know who's making the game. Because Sony has the internal developers to do it. Okay, and the other big reason why this is a problem is because you want as much control over Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo all want as much control over these games as possible, whenever possible. Why? Because he who has the most control over each game, especially franchise, has complete control over what happens next in the franchise. So, for instance, you don't have to worry about, again, the Last of Us 2. Man, I wonder a good developer is going to make that game. You don't have to worry about that. It's all done, baby. You just sit back in your in your lawn chair with that umbrella drink and just sip in the shade, baby. You're all good. You know what I mean? And for instance, another example. Let's say Horizon Zero Dawn exceeds expectations and they're looking to make a second one. You don't have to worry about whether the developer, hey, hopefully we can get Guerrilla Games to make our next game. Hopefully, Ubisoft or Deep Silver or some other publisher, EA, hasn't called them up to do. No, you don't have to worry about it. Sit back in that, go ahead and lean back in that lawn chair. You're all good, baby. Keep sipping that drink. You're good. You see what I'm saying? Whereas, for instance, perfect example, Quantum Break. Let's say Quantum Break, and I'm gonna get out of here when we're done with this. But let's just say Quantum Break, does better than expected. Sorry, better than expected for Microsoft. Okay, so they get on the phone with Remedy saying, okay, let's make Quantum Break 2. Let's do it, guys. And Quantum Break is on the phone like, we'd love to do it, but Rockstar just called us to make Max Payne 4, and we just said yes. So think about how much longer it's going to take to get back to Quantum Break 2. They got to do 2, 3, maybe even, let's say 3 years to make Max Payne, to make a full AAA Max Payne. And then you got another 3 years after that, because it's not a large studio. Remedy is a one AAA at a time studio. So you have to wait for 3 years for that, and then 3 years to get completed with Quantum Break 2. So you're looking at 6 years. So you're looking from 2016 to 2022 before they'll be able to come out, possibly. Now, I'm not making that claim that Rockstar has done that. But Max Payne 3 was a success. Why wouldn't Rockstar want to set up Max Payne 4? I'm not saying they did. I'm not making a claim. I'm not claiming this to be true. I'm just saying you can't say that's not a possibility. Whereas, again, Horizon Zero Dawn does good. Man, I wonder if Guerrilla Games is working on something. No. You can call Guerrilla Games and say, hey, I appreciate you guys are coming up with something new, but this Horizon Zero Dawn is a hit. This sucker's blowing up everywhere. We can't keep these things on the shelves. Let's go ahead and just stop what we're doing on anything else, and let's get this second one made. Let's go. You see what I'm saying? That's all that has to happen. They don't have to find out whether or not they're working with someone else. That's the beauty of the first-party development studio. Anyway, I talked your head off enough. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll holla back. Peace.